Another gorgeous day. Got my hiking boots on today. I've decided I'm going to go for a walk every morning. I've been lazy for the last 7 weeks. The first 4 weeks I can be excused because the weather was cold and I had just come back from Taiwan. And in Taiwan I was not lazy at all. So I went from averaging 15,000 steps a day to 5. So I've got no excuse. Is it on straight? So hard to tell. I think it is. Alright, we're going to start with this. Nobody cares about what you did. Nobody cares about jobs you had, places you visited, meals you ate. Nobody cares about any of that stuff. Which is ironic, because if you go to if you go to Instagram, it's all about places you've been and meals you've eaten. Sometimes it's about bands you saw, things you did. So nobody cares about that stuff. Also, nobody cares about what you're going to do. Your plans, your aspirations, they don't interest anyone at all. Unless there's some kind of common sharing there, but really. And then that leaves what you're doing. Do people really care what you're doing? There's been a number of YouTube videos that say no, nobody cares what you're doing. So let's review. Nobody cares what you did, what you're doing, or what you're going to do. Can we agree on that? Did you see that dog? It's Pride month or week or something. That dog is gay. He's wearing a rainbow. It smells like weed in here. This is a nice place to walk and smoke some weed, I guess. Lingers in the air. All right, so let's start with this. There are 3 things you can't spread enough. There are 3 things you can't spread thick enough. Peanut butter, topsoil, and sunscreen. There's probably 3 more. But let's stay with that. So I was thinking this morning about COVID, and when I was working as a real estate agent, I had some friends who became clients who called me up after the lockdown lifted, and they wanted to move, and they couldn't move fast enough. And they'd lived in the house for at least 3 years, probably 4 or 5, I can't remember. But they'd lived there a long time, but suddenly as soon as COVID ended, they had to move. And the reason they had to move, the reason they gave me, which I believe, is because their backyard was far too noisy. They backed onto a pretty major road here in KW, and they hadn't realized how noisy it was until COVID shut everybody down and made the road so quiet. And when things picked up again, they realized how noisy their neighborhood was. So I often say that you don't notice things that aren't there, but sometimes you don't notice things that are there until they aren't. Maybe I've said that before. There's a strong likelihood that I'm going to repeat myself here from time to time. When you vlog every day, it's bound to happen. In fact, I've got a bit of crises of topic. I don't want to talk about neighbours or YouTube or van building or my plans for later this summer or in the future. I don't want to talk about my routines or my fitness ambitions. I don't want to talk about nostalgia or retirement. I don't want to talk about how many books I've read since I've been back in Canada. And I don't want to talk about how many days I've gone without posting something to my Sketch a Day site. I don't want to talk about my laundry or my barbecue, my swimming pool, or my bicycles. I always talk about a lot of these things. It must be getting pretty boring. The truth is, life is pretty boring. It's pretty routine. The only thing that's really different is that I'm in Canada instead of being in Taiwan. And there are a few things that are part of that package, like going out and eating every meal in Taiwan versus never going out for a meal in Canada. But really, what I had 4 or 5 years ago, 2 separate and distinct lives, since I retired has really just become one. But it's a good one. So, I'm not complaining. I'll see you again tomorrow. Or the next day, I don't know. Sometime soon.